Welcome to the vote video to decide where we move next. From New York Red Bull, we were able to not win, unfortunately, the US Open Cup, but we did, in the last episode, spoilers, win the MLS Cup. We won the Eastern Conference and then went on to win MLS Cup in general. So we haven't won everything there is to win in America. So, of course, as ever, we will have stay at insert current club on the vote. So by all means, if you'd like me to go for either an MLS Cup retention or to try and win everything there is to win in this division, then I'm happy to do so, and it will be on the list. Lewis Morgan, there's 17 goals in 18 games for him. Dante Van Zier, 25 in 28. I wonder if Ronaldo's on this list. 13 in 14, he certainly is. Cristiano! I'll be intrigued to know if there's anyone you guys want me to take with me from this squad to wherever we go next, if, of course, we go anywhere next. But after winning the league and the second phase here in New York, there will be, I presume, some slightly tastier options available for us for our next job. We started in Australia at Wellington Phoenix. We won in Oz. We moved to Henan in China. We won in China. We've moved to New York Red Bull in MLS. We've won MLS. The streak at some point will come to an end and we'll find ourselves at a club where we're in a real challenge. That might be our next club. We shall wait and see. Let's go and find out who is going to bid for us. In the description down below, you'll find a link to a straw poll. Vote for as many as you would like to watch in the description, in that vote, but please don't vote yet. Wait until you see what the options are. The first option available to us is, well, outside of staying in Major League Soccer with Red Bull New York, is European, but not a major European league. The first option is the Danish Superliga. We've played there in a player career mode with FC Copenhagen, but obviously when we do the spinning of the wheel, we don't include the sides that are doing the best in that particular division. So, admittedly, if FC Copenhagen are having a terrible time in Denmark, then they may well be on the vote. But the larger sides that are at the top end, that are in the European League, European competitions at the moment, we're not including in the vote or in the wheel for where we go. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with how things work here in the Journeyman this year, you guys vote on the league I go to, and then via a random wheel, we select which club we go to. But the minute, at this stage of our career, we're moving to teams that are in the lower regions of the league, so we don't just kind of bounce from great team to great team to great team. We've still ended up managing sides that have been able to win us the division that we've gone to, but it's been a bit more of a challenge than just walking into a league with the best team and then wiping the floor with everybody. We've just happened to have been very lucky with where we've ended up thus far in this save, but eventually that luck will run out, and maybe that luck will run out in Denmark. Do you perhaps want to go and see me manage in the Danish Super League? If not, let's go and find you another option. Potentially, we follow some of the footsteps of Ange Postecoglou. Ange obviously managed in Australia, then moved to the J-League, then moved to Scotland. And the SPL is on the list again. It's been there previously, and I think it's come second in at least one or more of the previous votes per season. Full disclosure, we will not move to Celtic or Rangers at this stage of the save. However, if you do vote for me to go to Scotland, and obviously we take over at a club that is lower down than Celtic or Rangers, I would include, potentially, at the end of that season, rather than having just stay at current club, I'd potentially throw in moving to Celtic or Rangers in that secondary vote at the end of the next season, as well as clubs from other divisions. But we'll wait and see how things go there. If you guys decide that the SPL is where you would like me to go, we shall play that one by ear. Certainly we could go to Scotland to a non-Celtic or Rangers club, either move on and then come back to Scotland to Celtic or Rangers, or move from Scottish club to Celtic or Rangers. Not sure yet. Don't take that as a given. Don't let that influence your vote to potentially vote for the SPL either. only vote for the SPL if you'd like to see me manage in the league for anyone, because we might not end up at Celtic or Rangers ever, and I don't want you to kind of vote for SPL because you want me to be at Celtic and Rangers and then that not materialise and they feel like you've wasted your vote. Effectively. But Scotland is the second option. Denmark, Scotland. What's next? We've got two quote-unquote lesser European divisions on the list, albeit there are some big clubs in either division. And there are some big clubs in the Belgian Pro League as well for us to try and take on. Sides like Anderlecht, etc. and Bruges. We would not manage those bigger sides, but Charleroi could be one that we potentially could end up at and might well be on the vote, as well as Saint-Gilloise as well. Or maybe, I can never remember how to pronounce the earlier word in, well, I'm going to say Cercle Bruges, but I'm not sure. It's Club Bruges, the bigger Bruges, that would be the Bruges that we would not go to, but Cercle Bruges I would potentially consider. Stade Liège might well be in European football, but they also might not. They're a side that I would associate with European football over recent years, or over my lifetime at least, even if not in the most recent years. But what the situation at the club is now, IRL, I actually don't know. Genk tends to be in Europe, I think, don't they? Or is it Gent that tend to be in Europe? I think it's Genk over Gent that are in Europe. Obviously, Kortrijk are not in European football that I'm aware of. Antwerp, another side that I would presume would be in the European picture, but I don't know. I don't know enough about Belgian football, basically. But there's only one way to find out about Belgian football, and that's to play in Belgium. But I'll only play in Belgium if you vote for Belgium. So far, we have stay in the MLS with New York Red Bull. We have go to Denmark, go to Scotland, or go to Belgium. What else? We have our first not top flight division. Obviously, that means it's going to be in a country that is one of Europe's bigger. But the option next for you is the Segunda Liga in Spain. Again, obviously, the bigger clubs and those at the top end of the table we would not be potentially moving to. So we would have a challenge on our hands. Probably there's a larger split in terms of the quality from the top end to the bottom end in the Segunda Liga. So it might be more of a challenge than we'd face elsewhere. Obviously, Scotland would probably have more of a challenge with Celtic and Rangers at the top, and then wherever we moved at the bottom end as well. Whereas, well, maybe in Denmark and Belgium as well, you might find that the top end clubs are significantly better than the bottom end clubs, but my inclination would be that they're closer together. But again, that might be due to lack of knowledge of the divisions. But the first time we've included the Segunda Liga on a vote is now. I believe the French second division was on a vote maybe last time round or the time before that. But this is certainly the first time that the Segunda Liga will be an option on the vote. So potentially somewhere en Español or en España even. Maybe? Perhaps? We've had one Scandinavian option. We bring you another. If perhaps you would like me to manage in Scandinavia, but not Denmark, how about Sweden in the Allsvenskan League? The option to move to somewhere slightly colder than we've managed before. We've had the heat of Australia. I don't know what the weather is like in eastern China. In New York, it's kind of similar to the UK. Hot in the summer, cold in the winter. In Sweden, pretty chilly most of the time. Certainly more often of the time than it is elsewhere that we've managed thus far. Do you think you might like to see me move to the Allsvenskan? To see me manage in that part of the Scandinavian options? Potentially. Potentially not. I don't know how the league works in Sweden. I believe it's just a straight league phase like it is in most European leagues. Don't think there's a split like there is in Scotland and in Belgium, but I might be mistaken. Regardless, Sweden is an option for you. By all means, like I said before, do vote for as many of these as you might like to see. So if you'd like to see me manage in 4 of the 7 or 8 options we give you, then by all means, feel free to vote for all 4. We've mentioned this league already today, and it's now on the vote again. I don't think it was that popular last time, but maybe the French second division is where you might like to see me go. There's Dunkirk. On this particular specific vote here, it's offered me Dunkirk. It's offered me a couple in the women's division, actually, in the Bundesliga. We've got Guingamp there, Pau FC, Lorient, Paris FC, Troyes, part of the City group, aren't they? Troyes. I was going to say Montreal. I mean, they speak French in Montreal, but they're not in France. Clermont Foot, etc. Obviously, the majority of those sides would be on the list, or on the wheel. Laval, I've never even heard of, Stade Lavallois, but there's going to be... well, I don't... In the... Again, not enough knowledge about the division, especially in FC terms, as to the quality of player at the bottom end of that league and the quality of player at the top end of that league. But regardless, I think Ligue 2 might be a bit of a challenge. But so would a number of the other leagues that are on the vote already as well. Perhaps you would like me to go to France. Perhaps you feel that I need to go and get my hair and teeth done. You might be able to put 2 and 2 together there as to what the next potential destination is. Turkey. Should we go to the Turkish Super League, the Trendyol Super League? We've played there in the player career in previous seasons as well. Trabzonspor. Did we play somewhere else in Turkey? I think Trabzonspor is the only place I've played in Turkey so far. But certainly it would be a difficult league to try and take a smaller club to the top with the power of teams like Fenerbahce, Besiktas, Galatasaray, etc. But it would be a challenge that you might like to see me try and take on. Turkey are your next option. The next option is a familiar name, but not what you might think. The Bundesliga. The Österreich Bundesliga. In Austria, perhaps that is where you see me managing next. Obviously, teams like Salzburg and Rapid Vienna would be the bigger clubs. Austria Vienna also one of the sides that have won the division before. But maybe you fancy me going to the Sturm Graz, obviously a big club at the level as well. Maybe you fancy going skiing in Austria, perhaps, in the off-season before tackling the Bundesliga. Certainly would be a challenge. Again, there are a lot of sides that are arriving on the vote now where there is a bit of a disparity between those at the very top and those at the very bottom. So it might be more of a challenge. A number of these options that we've got on the vote now. So far, this is the 9th option on the vote. So I will go and find a 10th, and then that will be that. Our final option is the third second division of the vote. You've got the Segunda Liga in Spain, you've got Ligue 2 in France, and now Serie B in Italy. Depending on who's where in the league would obviously depend on where we moved, but there would be some big clubs at the level, especially considering how far into the save we are, what clubs had dropped down from Serie A into Serie B might well determine where we go as well, or what is or isn't on the vote outside of the usual. Sassuolo, obviously, by default are in Serie B. Whether they're still there in our save, we shall wait and see. But Serie B is going to be your final option on the vote. So I said Serie B, not Siri. Thank you, phone. Go away. So move to Italian second division will be what we do. I'm creating the poll here. So your options. Stay at New York Red Bull for another year. Try and win the MLS, or try and win the cup, the US Open Cup. So we've won everything in that division before we move on. Move to the Danish League. Move to the Scottish League. Move to the Belgian League. Swedish League. Spanish second division. French second division. Turkey, Austria, or the Italian second division. Allow selection of multiple options. Yes, unlimited. Create poll. There you go. I'm going to vote for everything so that everything has a vote on it. I don't mind where I play, so long as you guys watch. So I'm going to share it. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to pop it into the live chat of those that are watching right now, that have watched me put this vote together so they can have their immediate say. And you guys will find that link in the description of the video down below as well, so you can have your say. Where do you want to see me manage next in this Journeyman save? What do you think is the biggest challenge? What do you think will get the most views? That's all for me for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate your support on this Journeyman save here on the second channel. Do keep it coming. I'll see you on Monday for episode 1 of season 4, somewhere on that list.